Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Welcome, everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting humankind with universal love, or as I like to say, uniting the entire globe with our very own most precious, most wonderful Dr. Carolyn Dean, who we love, and adore. And I'm just so grateful to have you here with us this evening. This is Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'll be your host for the next 2 hours along with Dr. Carolyn Dean. And we've got an amazing presentation for you tonight, those who are joining us for the very first time. And one thing I'm going to ask our producer to do is be sure to mute the people coming in because they're coming in making noise. Okay, thank you, Rachel. Anyway, I want to tell you about our show, first of all, and I also want to thank our podcasting audience, which grows exponentially every day as podcasting does. Those who are listening to us through Spotify, through our Amazon podcasting, through Apple. We're so grateful that you're downloading the show and you're listening to the wisdom of Dr. Carolyn Dean. For she is very wiseth. Yes, she maketh the hearteth gladdeth with amazing information every single week. And it's so inspiring in a world. Well, what can we say about 2020? It's kind of been a big fat bummer, but not in our world. I mean, in our world, we've had the best year because we've just been able to rejoice again exponentially in the amazing ability of the body to protect and defend itself using the appropriate basic nutrients, the building blocks of life, of which Dr. Carolyn Dean is a master, and to have those building blocks available for you in the form of complement formulas and also other kinds of assets and abilities that she has to pinpoint exactly what you might want to do to have safe and healthy strategies for your vitality and your well-being. Now, let me say this. This is not a medical show. Dr. Dean is a doctor, but she doesn't give medical advice. But what she'll do is she'll give you the wisdom of nature, because that's mostly what we talk about is natural, healthy strategies. She'll tell you what she'd do if she were in your shoes, and sometimes she has been in your shoes. So she'll be able to relate to you through personal experience. She can direct you to resources, and she can talk to you on the phone tonight at 646-558-8656. Those calling into the show will be able to talk with Dr. Dean about the questions and the things that are important to you. I want you to also know that through her incredible wisdom, having written the Magnesium Miracle and so many other free audiobooks, free written books, webinars. I mean, the resources are vast. You'll be able to do your own research. And that's very important too, because we don't want you to do anything that you haven't researched thoroughly and decided is appropriate for you. Okay, so we've welcomed you to the show. Dr. Dean apparently has a lot to say tonight. She kind of warned me, so I'm going to get my Remag water and get all prepped and ready for the incredible wisdom and the insights from our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you, Jenny. Oh, the kids. Where are the kids?
There they are. Very good.
Yeah, I forgot the kids. I'm so excited because, yes, I have a rant. I do have a rant. So let's just jump through the housekeeping notes. I think I just want to remind people, get your repeat blood testing done so you know how your improvement is going. I know you got to stick your finger, you got to squeeze it out, you got to go to the mail, but isn't that 100 times easier than making an appointment to your doctor to get a blood test where you pay a copay, for Pete's sakes? So repeat your testing. And the next thing I'm just going to, mention, Ginny knows we've got a Magnesium Miracle contest going. We had such fun with our Grounded One contest, and we've got about 25 videos from people talking about their Magnesium Miracle, and they're just wonderful. They're a blessing to see people getting better and telling more people about Remag. So where can people see those videos, Ginny? Do they just go to our daily emails that Chad sends out and click through, or is there a direct place to go?
I will post the link on our chat line here tonight. You can always email customer service, and it is on our YouTube page, but it might be private on YouTube. So I'll search around, see if I can get a more clear answer, Carolyn.
Okay, great. And when you watch the video, click the like button for the one. Well, I mean, I like them all. I just couldn't stop myself. I just like them all. But you're voting for your winner to win a Total Body Reset bundle and an immunity bundle. And with those words about immunity bundle, here's my rant. It is an immunity rant, because the more I read and hear about COVID and the fall flu season coming up, where anybody who gets a sniffle is going to just be frightened that they have COVID, and they may not, but the fear of it will make whatever they've got worse. I mean, we are in this whirlpool of fear, and in a situation where, as I've said before, 70% of our population has set themselves up to weaken their immune system with their comorbidities, being overweight, being on medication, being stressed out. And what has stressed us out is being fearful of COVID. So it's this vicious cycle. So what I'm going to say to you, and I don't know if this is medical advice or just common sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think every one of us has to be incredibly proactive about telling everybody how to support their immune system. And it's very easy. We make it so easy. What you're going to do is, for everybody for their Thanksgiving gift, their Christmas gift, Hanukkah gift, Kwanzaa, every birthday gift for the next couple of years, you're going to give them some immunity products. And these folks may not be used to taking dietary supplements, but these are, I'm telling you about, our completement formulas. They complete their health. And what you're going to say to them is, for example, vitamin D, our D3K2 reset. Vitamin D is in the news all the time, and it is a supreme immune booster. We used to just think it regulated our calcium and phosphorus and helped mineralize the bones. But Ginny and I came across an article from our favorite vitamin D website. It's grassrootshealth.net. And that's where we send the blood tests, the fingerstick blood test, because they got us on the bandwagon of vitamin D. It turns out that vitamin D affects at least 2,000 genes in a signaling molecular form to propel 160 biological pathways. And we know that magnesium affects 1,000 biological pathways, but vitamin D is close behind. Zinc is in there too with about 180. So what we know about vitamin D now is how the immune cells can become activated with vitamin D. It does inhibit cancer cell growth. Vitamin D deficiency has been shown to increase susceptibility to COVID-19. So if you're deficient, you're more susceptible. And look, what happens in the fall? We lose our sunshine, we lose our access to sunshine, vitamin D, and we get the fall and winter colds and flus. Is that because our vitamin D is so low? We have study after study, the Grassroots Health, all you have to do is go there, grassrootshealth.net, and find mostly under the blog section, you'll find these incredible articles. I mean, the rest of the one I'm referencing now says an analysis of over 190,000 Americans found that having vitamin D levels of at least 50 nanograms per mil resulted in 53% lower positivity rate than people who had less than 20. Now, I started out my vitamin D testing at 19, and after 6 months of 10,000 units, I was up to 53. So I'm a bit better. Maybe I'll try for a bit more. But vitamin D is such an important factor for your immune function. That's the number one vitamin that you're going to get your friends to take. I have some more notes about 25 randomized controlled trials over 11,000 people showed that vitamin D supplements reduce the risk of respiratory tract infections by 70%. You need your friends and family to be on D3K2 so that they won't get sick and they won't be subject to the possibility of being diagnosed with COVID. I mean, some of these tests are not accurate. Grassroots Health participants with vitamin D levels greater than or equal to 40 were 41% less likely to have the flu, 15% less likely to have a cold. So I would say I'm going to get myself up to more the 60, 70 range. And then the big acute respiratory distress syndrome complication of COVID, one study found that 96% of those at risk of this major complication were deficient in vitamin D. So let's protect the lungs with vitamin D. And the next one is magnesium. There's 3 that I'm going to talk about that you should tell your friends and family to get, or just buy them and send them. This is seriously, this is crucial. This is, it's not that I believe COVID is so life-threatening in general, but for those that get it, who have the comorbidities and are of that age, they are more susceptible. So we have to protect everybody. And this is going to be a lot more protective than wearing a mask or staying at home. So magnesium, our REMAG, that follows on the heels of vitamin D. It's necessary to activate vitamin D. So yes, you can be taking all kinds of vitamin D and it won't go through the metabolic processes to activate it and make it functional. Magnesium chloride used to treat polio in the early 1900s. Magnesium boosts natural immune responses, reduces inflammation, we know that, and it plays a role in oxidative stress. which can have a large negative impact on your immune system. And we know magnesium activates 1,000 enzyme systems, is responsible for 80% of known metabolic function. So it has widespread effects on the immune system. And at the NIH conference in March 2019 that Ginny and I attended, Michael J. Leonardo, who has a prominent position at the NIH, he's a molecular immunologist and geneticist. His study that he talked about, a new primary immunodeficiency affecting magnesium, regulation of immunity against Epstein-Barr virus. And ever since I learned about chronic fatigue, we learned that Epstein-Barr virus could be a factor. A lot of people are talking about Epstein-Barr. Well, magnesium could be the treatment for it. Even a 2017 paper on magnesium's cellular regulation and clinical relevance. There's something in this paper I just wanted to sort of overview and say that in this study, they said not enough studies have been done on the role of magnesium in the immune system. I mean, how bad is that at a time when we really need to support our immune system, and doctors just won't do anything with nutrients until they have some science behind it. I mean, that's why we're doing our magnesium studies when we found out there were really no absorption studies to speak of. But clinically, when our customers take Remag, they universally comment on how they no longer get sick. And that's what we want to happen for all your friends and family. So the third one, vitamin C. And it's going to be our vitamin C reset, because this comes as a berry flavored powder with potassium in it as well, which will work well with the magnesium. And this will allow you to say to the people that you're getting these products for, especially the ones who've tried Remag before and they've said, yuck, I will never put that in my mouth as long as I live, because they can't stand the strong taste. So what we have with the vitamin C reset powder is something that totally conceals, covers up the taste of Remag. I personally take about 7 teaspoons a day of the various minerals. So I put those 7 teaspoons in 16 ounces of water, 1 scoop of vitamin C reset, and I taste nothing except a beautiful berry taste. So you're going to have them take the vitamin C reset powder, mix it in with their Remag water, swallow their D3K2 with that combination, and sip the rest of the Remag vitamin C powder throughout the day. And that's going to protect in the vitamin C, direct antiviral mechanisms are disruption of the viral capsid by interfering with its glycoprotein envelope. It's going to damage the viral capsid. It's going to inhibit viral replication. It's going to increase cellular immunity, increase humoral immunity, increase antiviral proteins, increase energy by providing necessary electrons and electron movement for mitochondrial ATP generation. Now that's awesome. Limits the main source of fuel, sugar. Ascorbic acid bounces sugar off receptor sites. Sugar and ascorbic acid use the same mechanism to move between cells, the same transport mechanism. If you have a lot of sugar, if you eat a lot of sugar, you bounce off your ascorbic acid. If you have a lot of ascorbic acid, you bounce off the sugar. We've always called vitamin C, ascorbic acid, the antidote to sugar. So it goes on. It's a quick antioxidant. It maintains structural integrity of cells by favoring collagen formation. So everybody I am speaking to, I want you to start purchasing bundles of Remag D3K2 vitamin C reset berry powder to save the lives of people you love. I know this comes across kind of strong, but seriously, the more I see what's going on, and the more I know about how the body protects itself. I have concerns about the vaccine not doing what we want it to do, but I know our immune systems can be supported. So, Ginny, can you add to my rant? Ginny will be along in a
Yes,
second.
here I am. Yeah. I was sitting there thinking, can I add to that? Gosh, I don't think so. I mean, I am equally concerned about people. We already went through this once in the spring, and I felt like we sent out enough warnings, shots. We have posted so much information. We completely diversified our product line. You wrote book after book. We did webinars, and we told so many people. So many people heard our message. They downloaded, they watched it, blah, blah, blah. And I thought for sure that we were going to have this incredible revolution. I know the natural medical community has worked hard. I know you're part of the orthomolecular group. I've seen a lot of very talented, credible doctors like yourself warning people about how to use nutrients to protect their immune system. And I thought for sure over the summer, people would have gotten sufficiently saturated and appropriately taken care of themselves so that when the fall came along, it would just be nothing. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think people ignored it. I think they were waiting on a vaccine, like you said. And I think that they have not planned or prepared appropriately. Now, not the people on our radio show. People on our radio show are super smart. Our podcast audience, very well attendant. You know, we have over 100,000 customers who've never been sick on this stuff. And, you know, we know even the basics of the zinc keeps the coronavirus from replicating. We know the silver. I mean, all these things. So I think you're right that we've got to get our audience and our podcasting audience, our listening audience, our email audience to partner up with us and just start shoving this on people. Just insist they take it. Just insist that they get with the program. Because we're all paying a price. Now, here's one thing, Carolyn, and you and I have talked about this offline, but yeah, a lot of people want to lay a lot of blame at the feet of a lot of people for this thing. But honestly, we know for a fact that 70% of Americans exist on more than 4 prescriptions a day, and that we were already unhealthy as a country to begin with. And then you slam this pandemic on top of it and then turn around and point fingers and blame people. Look, people, we have to take responsibility for our health in this country. And unfortunately, because this is such a political hot potato, I don't know if we're ever going to get to the place that we really need to be as a nation, which is to say, we need to be healthy.
I know. Dr. Fauci himself is taking 8,000 international units of vitamin D. But did he tell you that?
Yes.
No.
So
These people are just criminals.
So irresponsible.
So, instead of giving people chocolate and candy and desserts and taking them out to dinner and giving them all kinds of genetically modified foods and ending with a chocolate dessert. Yes, Jenny, we're going to do all that too. But instead of gifting them with that type of immune depressing food, make sure you bring along the D3K2 and the Remag and the vitamin C berry powder. And yes, Ginny's perfectly right. Yeah. People who take our products, they'll gravitate then to the Remite to support their thyroid and their adrenals. They'll take the Realign, which is our food-based and methylated Bs and our detoxification amino acids. They'll take our Restructure. And if they have an inkling of needing more for their immune system, yes, you should have your Pico Silver and Pico Zinc on hand, and Flora Revive, which is actually the topic of our show today, is what has your gut to do with your immune system? Okay, so that's where we are. The topic today is immune system and your gut microbiome. And this would be an email that you got from Ginny today. Every Monday morning, she sends it out before the show. If it's not in your email, or if you dumped your email, go to DearCarolynDeanLive.com, and it's the top post there. And your digestive system is a key contributor to a strong immune system, your heart health, brain health, improved mood, much more. And most importantly, the gut is our biggest organ of immunity, and it provides our first level of immune defense. I mean, seriously, when you swallow any food or liquid, your body has to figure out if it's good or bad for you. And, as we mentioned, both Ginny and me, you are eating foods that your body doesn't like, and your body has to detoxify them. It has to break them down biochemically. It has to use up liver resources to do that. It has to get rid of them. But, we've gotten to the state where we think that anything on the grocery shelves is okay. And that's really not the case. We have to read labels and all the rest of it. And besides the foods, genetically modified foods, we know from European studies, because they won't let us have access to American studies, it appears, fake news or whatever. European studies show over and over again that genetically modified foods irritate the gut. And so how many of us have gut problems, and we have not been able to go organic, or we haven't avoided the major food allergens, and we may be having gut problems due to genetically modified foods. Most of the soy in this country is genetically modified. Most of the corn is. They've just, snuck that under all the fences that are trying to protect us. So our immune system is dealing with the GMOs as well as everything else. What we know is that 70 to 80, even 90% of the body's immune cells are found in the gut, and the microbiome action is regulating the immune response. So we hear about the trillions of bacterial cells in the body and how they're supposed to be supporting us. I mean, there's all kinds of things that research is uncovering now. Most of it is kind of dramatized too much. We still are in the infancy, so people are just giving all kinds of kudos to this probiotic or that probiotic without really looking at the whole picture. I'll be addressing that in our webinar on Thursday. This radio show is kind of a run up to our Thursday webinar. I know I'm doing it at 10 a.m. Here in Hawaii. You'll get your emails telling you when you can tune in on the mainland. But this is very important. And what I've done over the years, I've read all the books. I'm reading 3 new books right now about probiotics, and they still they still, most of them do not acknowledge the overgrowth of yeast in the intestines as being part of this whole problem with gastrointestinal problems, IBS, allergies, leaky gut. I mean, what I know about yeast overgrowth is the mycelial threads of yeast as they grow up from the large intestine into the small intestine, just poke their way through these cell junctions and create a superhighway for yeast toxins or bacterial toxins to enter into the bloodstream and then cause head to toe symptoms. And you won't get to the bottom of it until you do address yeast overgrowth. And what I've done there is work with a yeast management protocol that I started to initiate because I found our yeast treatment was pretty intense for people. But what I found with using our Flora Revive, which is our soil-based probiotic, prebiotic, antifungal, we've been able to marry that with our Pico Silver and have very good results on digestive problems with our customers. So continuing on in the email, Ginny goes over the different aspects of the gastrointestinal tract, how everything is being kind of modified by the intestinal organisms. I mean, some of the work I'm reading, and again, I'll go into detail at the webinar, certain levels of a particular probiotic mean you might gain more weight, and certain others mean you'll be more lean. So what's going to happen in the commercialization of probiotics? They're going to tell people, "Oh, take a ton of these lean probiotics and you'll be fine," without even kind of understanding that it's a balance of maybe 1,000 different species of organisms. It's not just 3 or 4 that are affecting the whole body. It's up to 1,000. And so that's where with the Flora Revive, I went with soil. I went with humic and fulvic acid, which are based on humus from the soil that's been buried for, like 1,000 years. And it's got the prebiotics and probiotics and all the nutrients that are needed to build your microbiome. But what you also need is fermented foods. You have to have the bacteria from foods that have been stored through the ages as a ferment because they didn't have refrigeration. And it's these fermented foods that supply the good bacteria for your intestines. And we've got our kefirs and our yogurt and our kimchi and our sauerkraut, and people are doing their own fermented vegetables. But look at what the commercialization of fermented food has done. They pretend they're fermenting sauerkraut in vinegar, and it should be brine. It should be salt. It should be a good kosher or sea salt. The yogurts are all super sugared and sweetened, and I don't think they're alive. I'm wondering if I'll start to make my own yogurt again, like I did in med school. And what I did find, a kefir that's not sugared, but it's so sour, I put the vitamin C reset berry powder in it, just, like a quarter of a scoop. And it tastes like berry yogurt. So there's ways that you can take your fermented foods. If you're worried about your gut, then you start really slowly, just give yourself a little bit. And so that's our probiotics. And the rest of the blog goes into how important zinc is. I learned about zinc when the hydroxychloroquine and zinc treatment became popularized and then squashed and then reported on. And I mean, this is a fairly safe treatment. I don't think there are many side effects, but what the hydroxychloroquine is doing is opening up the cells to allow zinc ions to enter into the cells. And what we have, though, with pico zinc is a zinc that is stabilized at the ions level and size. So it does not need hydroxychloroquine. It just dives right into the cells and it starts attacking viruses that are in your cells. The vitamin D we spoke about, the vitamin C, the B12 is in our Realign, the magnesium is in our Remag, of course. So we have you covered. Like Ginny said, we went into super production of the immune boosting nutrients, because there's a point where you look at the supplements now online, you look at the thousands of them on Amazon. I have not heard of 90% of the companies that are advertising online now. So I have real reservations about ordering products from companies where they won't give you a certificate of analysis. They hardly even tell you what the ingredients are. So that's our blog for today's show. And I think we just got one good question here. Chantel is asking, do we need to add a prebiotic to our protocol if it already includes Flora Revive? Actually, Chantel calls it Flora Alive, which is a perfect name, actually. And can she take Flora Alive 3 times a day rather than 2? She said, I've seen a significant positive change since taking this supplement, but I'm still a bit constipated at times. Thank you. There is a prebiotic in Flora Revive. It's in the humic fulvic, and it is in inulin as well, which is an ingredient. It is in the RNA powder, a prebiotic as well as a probiotic. And for your prebiotics, what our bacteria feed off or can attach to, and it makes them happy to do so, is fiber. So fiber is incredibly important as the fermented foods. And when I switched to keto diet, I made sure I started to use psyllium seed every day, a teaspoon or so of very fine psyllium seed powder to extend my fiber. We do have a 5-gram dose of fiber in our restructure, so you'll get that as well. So yes, we've got you covered there, Chantel. And another, it was like a testimonial that came in from Remag, but there's a point I want to make with it. A mother is writing in about her daughter who has Lyme disease from a deer tick, and she was in constant pain in all her muscles. And with a doctor's advice about food avoidance, and I think the doctor was doing muscle testing as well, she found that she couldn't eat gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, corn, shellfish, and meat except organic chicken and some grass-fed beef without having severe muscle pain. And after a year on this diet, and the doctor did have her on a magnesium, the mom said, told her daughter to switch to Remag. And she stopped having the remaining pain that she still had. She stopped having it with Remag, and for 5 months she continues to be free of pain, but apparently she's still on this restricted diet. Now, what I think is going on there, because I don't like avoid as a treatment. I'd rather see the intestines heal. And what I wonder, because when someone has Lyme disease, they're given a lot of antibiotics, and I'm wondering about yeast overgrowth. So if you have yeast overgrowth, then you get the leaky gut, you get the irritation of the gut, you get a lot of toxins being absorbed. So I would ask this mom to look into my book, Reset the Yeast Connection. Think about using the Flora Revive, and that would help the gut itself. And the Pico Silver, that would help Lyme as well as yeast overgrowth. And then slowly look at the other products, because when a person has gone through such a severe condition for years, I call that total body meltdown. And that to me means a requirement for our whole protocol, for the Remag, Remite, Realign, Restructure, and RNA reset drops. So, Ginny, I think I have covered the waterfront. If you want to take over.
Take over, as if I could take over for Dr. Dean. That's so silly. But what I will do is I'll tell everybody how they can talk to Dr. Dean, which is very important. I want to welcome all of our listeners too on YouTube. Our very good friends Patrick and Elma's with us from Kuwait. And of course, we've got Sherry with us. Sherry's with us all the time. She's just fantastic. And many more probably who haven't typed in and said hello. And then we've got our wonderful chat line going, and we've got beautiful people on our chat line. We've got a question from Joe we're going to get to in a minute, Joe. I haven't forgotten. So we're here doing all that. If you want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, it's in all of our emails. It's on our YouTube. It's on our website. It's a little complicated. 646-558-8656 is the number. 646-558-8656. And then you have to enter an access code, 8836953587. Again, that's 8836953587. When you get to the show, you'll come in and you'll be on mute. Your phone will remain on mute unless you raise your hand by doing *9. *9 will raise your hand and let me know you have a question or comment. And then I'm going to put you on the line with Dr. Dean when we go to our phone call segment, which is coming right up. So again, questions, comments, *9 to talk with Dr. Dean. And I don't see any hands waving. So if you think you did hit *9, you haven't hit it yet. Okay, now the next thing, Carolyn, I want to do is just also touch on the fact that if you're listening to the podcast or how you've downloaded an archive of the radio show and you have questions about our content, please email questions, that's questions, questions at drcarolyndeanlive.com, drcarolyndeanlive.com. And Melody Rose, who answers all those questions with Dr. Dean, will correspond with you, research, get you the information that you need in response to anything you may have heard on the show. She can also get you directly to Dr. Dean if you feel that you need a direct response from her. So she'll take care of that. So that's my update. And let me just say, Carolyn, that you know, one of the things that we talk a lot about in terms of the immune system and also digestion, the topics that you talked about today, but what do you have for people in terms of movement and exercise? What do you think are things that support that aspect of the immune system and, you know, the lymph system and those kinds of things? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Right. Yes. I think when the astronauts first went into space and came back with osteoporosis, I realized the the extreme importance of exercise, or if anyone's been laid up in bed for a few weeks and your muscles just atrophy, well, you need the pull of gravity, and you need movement to keep your bones kind of recirculating. Your bones are constantly breaking down and building up, breaking down, building up. And they'll just break down if you don't do exercise. Same with the lymph. Your lymphatic system does not have a pump, and it depends on you pumping your muscles in order to move the lymph through and out of the body. And the lymph is what drags the toxic byproducts of metabolism out of the body. And any movement will do. I remember the studies back in the day when they were trying to say that for osteoporosis you needed heavy aerobic activity, but no, it can be walking, swimming, tai chi. Anything that moves the body will help the bones and the muscles. So you just got to do something. But stretching, I'm finding stretching is very important. One of the things that often comes to mind, when I'll get a little ache or pain somewhere, if I focus on it, it'll stay with me. If I ignore it, it goes. So we have to be aware of not giving too much attention to little aches and pains and starting to worry about them, because that sort of solidifies them. And for alignment, aligning the body is very important. I used to walk with my left foot would sort of duck walk out a little bit. My toes weren't pointed directly in front of me. And I got an Egoscue tower, EGOSCUE tower, and I just hang my feet in a passive stretch in this Egoscue tower a couple times a week now. And as far as I can tell, it straightened out my leg. I wasn't doing much else over the past, 7 or so decades. So those simple things, as I've said many times, I walk and swim and I stretch. I'll do some yoga stretching. I'll do the Egoscue. So I'm doing a fair number of things. I'm going to test out I bought something, Bob doesn't even know it's here in the house, but to do headstands on, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. So I'm always trying things out, and thankfully I enjoy movement and exercise. So how's that sound, Ginny?
Outstanding. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed to know. Wonderful. Keep the whole gamut. Very good. Very good. All right. So again, this evening, phone calls 646-558-8656. Hit *9 on your phone keypad to come into the call and let Dr. Dean know you have a question or comment, and we'll put you on the line with her. Carolyn, do you want to take some phone calls before the top of the hour?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's go out to area code 310-310. I've asked to unmute your phone. You'll have to hit the little button there, area code 310, and then you can come in and talk with Dr. Dean. There you go. Welcome to the show.
Hi, my name is Lynn Grice, and a friend of mine, Pam, listened to you faithfully and told me that you could possibly help me. Recently, I have lupus, and I've been blessed for 20 years to have a pretty mild case of it. And then all of a sudden, I've gotten atrophic gastritis in the last year and microvascular disease. I had to have my gallbladder taken out, and I'm living on Miralax around the clock just to get it passed. And I have Raynaud's with my fingers, and they said now with this microvascular disease is pretty much the same thing as Raynaud's disease of the heart. And I'm starting to panic here because my conditions are starting to escalate, and I don't know how to treat myself other than Western medicine that they've given me to help. And my friend Pam, we ordered some of the magnesium, and I've been taking that at night, but I'm self-diagnosing, taking 2 capsules a night, but I really don't know what I need to do to help myself.
Right. Okay, Lynn, how old are you? Do you mind me asking?
Oh, no, I just turned 60.
Okay. Still young. Still young.
Yes, thank you. I want to feel young. I don't now, but I am young, and I need to feel better. So I want to get a handle on this health.
Well, for people who are listening, Lynn, just to say that lupus is it's an autoimmune disease where supposedly the body's immune system is attacking tissues and organs, and it can be various places. And you're saying that it's affecting your stomach and your circulation, and your Raynaud's is your circulation of your fingers. Okay, so what I say about autoimmune disease is that the body would not attack tissues that are healthy. So for some reason, either the immune system itself is weakened or the tissues are, we'll quote, toxic, so that the immune system thinks it should attack them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what I look, well, what could be affecting the tissues that would make them appear toxic? Well, number one is if you don't have enough nutrients to make your cells as healthy as possible. And throughout, my research over the decades, the major deficiency is the magnesium. And that's why Pam started you on the REMAG, because magnesium is necessary for 1,000 enzyme processes in the body, and it affects 80% of known metabolic functions. So you're starting with the magnesium there. The second major thing that I found with autoimmune disease is that people will have yeast overgrowth. And I don't know with your lupus if you were put on cortisone or not, but that can actually aggravate yeast overgrowth. And we all have some yeast in our intestines. It lives in the large intestine. It chews up undigested food. It serves, a function in the body. But when you eat a lot of sugar, take antibiotics, cortisone, birth control pill, then the yeast can overgrow and kind of crawl up into the small intestine and even to the stomach and cause irritation. So what I do, I'm a medical doctor, but on the radio and even as having my supplement company, I'm not allowed to diagnose or treat conditions. So I basically tell people, well, with autoimmune disease, let's get your minerals in balance, and let's look at yeast overgrowth. So do you have any questions about those things that I said so far?
Yes. Well, one of the minerals when you have lupus that you're not supposed to take is zinc, because it throws you into a flare-up.
Okay.
So that's a concern. And I have been tested a while back before they took my gallbladder out about yeast overgrowth, and I didn't have it, but she put me on that antibiotic for 2 weeks, that really strong one. And it did help somewhat. And she's talked about revisiting that again, because I've blown up as well in weight. I'm 30 pounds in 1 year. I've gained 30 pounds, and I've always been a little person, and I'm as thick as you can get, and I can't get the weight off. And so something's going on, either because of the gallbladder or this atrophic gastritis. And my biggest concern is this heart stuff, because, they did say the inside of my arteries, I do have cell damage in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll say a couple of more things in terms of blood vessels. The most important thing is vitamin C.
Okay.
The bruising and bleeding, gums bleeding, just what you're talking about, microvascular disease. It sounds to me like a type of scurvy. Now that's going to sound bizarre because we think we cured scurvy, but anytime you see an older person with bruises on their arms or bleeding gums, to me that's a sign of scurvy. So if they're talking about microvascular disease, I would say high doses of vitamin C. We have a whole C reset, which is food-based. We also have the vitamin C reset berry powder. And what it does, one of the many things it does is build collagen, which will help protect the blood vessels. So, I mean, there's a lot you can be doing. It's going to sound overwhelming, me trying to say it all at once. But if you think some of this makes sense, what you could do, Lynn, is send an email into support@rnareset.com and ask for our questionnaire so that it'll come to me, and then I'll sort of line things up as what I would do if I was in your situation. Okay.
Okay. One last thing on this Raynaud's, it's really starting to get quite active in my fingers, and now with this microvascular, my cardiologist said, and my rheumatologist said, it is microvascular disease is Raynaud's disease of the heart. Right. So what can I do to help the Raynaud's?
Well, Raynaud's, it is, as you say, a circulation problem where it's like we don't know if it's the tightening of the blood vessels, which would be a magnesium deficiency, or little tiny blood clots from the blood being too thick, which is like a vitamin C deficiency, a magnesium deficiency, dehydration, and lack of minerals. So it's all, not all, but everything you're saying is related to nutrients that the body doesn't have to be able to take care of things. The atrophic gastritis, I mean, that can be related to the gastrointestinal yeast and bacteria irritating the stomach, and that there may be a balance there that we can achieve with the Flora Revive and the Pico Silver to help get your microbiome back in order. But if we just step back a little bit and just look at autoimmune disease, mineral deficiencies, and yeast overgrowth, that's what I'll leave you with. And you can download my Reset the Yeast Connection book from drcarolyndeanlive.com, Reset the Yeast Connection, and sort of study that a bit. You're taking the Remag. It's better to sip it through the day. You could get our vitamin C reset berry powder and work with that. And I'm afraid I have to stop for the top of the hour right now, Lynn. You can stay on if you have another question before, after the break, before you go. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Ginny, over to you.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
So you're not on anymore?
No, I am. Do I?
back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Complement formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and pico-meter minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. We're so glad to be joined by you and all of our prolific and prestigious callers. Just remember that every person who calls and asks a question makes a contribution to the whole, because many people are thinking about the questions that you're asking, even if you don't think they are. It's true. And we're joined again by Dr. Dean in this next hour. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello, Ginny.
And also, is our caller still on the line with us, hour two?
Yes, I just have one more question, and then I'll let you go because I know there's other people that really want to talk with you. One of the things I wanted to ask you is between having a cardiologist, a rheumatologist, a gastritis, as you know, when you have all these different doctors, nobody talks to each other. And
Right.
what do you recommend how I could have one person kind of be the quarterback or guide me and break down what's going on? Who do I, you're in Hawaii. I'd love to go over and see you. But living in town here is, I live in LA. Can you recommend how I might go about trying to find somebody to help me?
It is difficult because, you would probably want to find a holistic doctor. I'm not in touch with a list like that. I guess you could look up, holistic doctor forums or websites and see if they have listings. Health food stores can sometimes tell you who are good doctors, but it's someone who looks at the whole picture rather than breaking down your body into parts.
Okay, well, I could start the magnesium because I know that helps everything.
Right.
And
now,
the yeast
yes,
overgrowth.
and the yeast. So that's very safe. I mean, nobody would stop you from taking magnesium or this Flora Revive or the Pico Silver. They might not know about it, and that is the dilemma with allopathic doctors. When you say, "Oh, I'm taking this and that," if they haven't heard of it, then they just deny it. But the concern I have too is this Miralax that you're taking. I don't know if you looked it up, but it's a polyethylene glycol. They say it's a neutral substance, but there are several strains of bacteria that can break that stuff down, and we don't know what is created from the breakdown products of polyethylene glycol. I mean, I knew it as motor oil at one point.
Oh my gosh.
And they say it's a neutral substance, and it's okay because in the lab it doesn't break down, but your intestines are not a lab. Well, they are a laboratory of 10 trillion bacteria, and the job of the liver and the bacteria is to break stuff down and get rid of it. But what we know about yeast is it can cause constipation and or diarrhea. And if you're having trouble there, it's the Flora Revive and the Remag that's going to help.
Okay. I'm sorry, can you Flora, what is it called? Flora
Revive, REVIVE. It's a natural probiotic and antifungal for yeast.
Okay. So could this be a substitution for the Miralax and the magnesium?
It could be, but I'm not allowed to tell you that. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not allowed to tell you to stop the Miralax. In fact, we tell people do not stop any of your medications, but just start these natural products. And as your health improves, then you won't need the medications for treating symptoms. That's how it works.
Okay.
All righty, Lynn.
Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate your information, and I will definitely reach out to the support.
Yes, perfect. Very good.
Okay. All righty. Have a nice day. All righty. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lynn. Say hi to Pam.
She's right here listening.
Okay, hon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, this is what I have to say. After listening to that exchange, which was quite lovely, I will go back to my standing comment that I've said for the last almost 10 years now. What doctor and naturopath sits on the phone on a Monday night and talks to people from her heart about the things that are really going on in their bodies and listens diligently to every single word that's being said and then responds with absolutely pinpoint perfectly biologically appropriate information. It's incredible, the service that you offer, Carolyn. And I just have to say it again. It's just, I know you're the CEO of the company. I know you do design and develop the formulas and these kinds of things, but you're also a doctor and you've just got years and years and years of experience, and your compassion is just off the charts. And I know you don't have to do it. And I'm so glad that Pam asked Lynn to call in. And of course she would. And not only does everybody need to be getting our formulas for their friends and family for the holidays to get them through this troubling time, but if you have an authentic concern, you should be talking with Dr. Dean about it. I mean, she's just an extraordinary doctor and an amazing human being. So thank you, Carolyn, for that. Okay. Let's see, other callers, again, 646-558-8656 and the ID number 883-695-3587. You should just be able to click a little button from most places. Joe typed in a little bit earlier, Carolyn. This is off the immunity topic, but still on the topic of our products, Remag and Pico Potassium. And Joe is having some chest discomfort. She does have a left branch block, and she's gotten a little frustrated with going to the doctor because they say they can't do anything for her. She's using the Remag and the Pico Potassium, and she's asking if you have any other suggestions. She says it doesn't seem to be helping. Now, I'm not sure how much of each Joe is taking, but your thoughts on that?
I would go back to the heart health book and look at the 33 triggers for arrhythmia. I mean, it's about atrial fibrillation, but it's kind of similar. The left bundle branch block is where the heart is trying to conduct energy down through an area and it gets kind of blocked. Is that due to electrolyte problem? Is there scarring in the area? If the doctors have sort of signed her off or signed her out without changing the situation, then you've just got to do more research, Joe, and look at the heart health book and see what we're missing here. Is it gluten that's triggering this? I don't know. I mean, there are just these possibilities. How much Remag and Remite are you taking? Are you taking enough to balance things out? Are you doing your sea salted water? And when I had my arrhythmia, it took me 4 teaspoons for a year and a half. And now that I'm doing my Pico Potassium, I think that's, I can go a day without my minerals, which is, I don't really recommend, but it just happens every once in a while. And I don't have symptoms. So it's a matter of triggers and dosage. And if that's not enough information, then get in touch with our customer service, and they'll get your questions to me with a questionnaire to give me enough information to go from.
Right. And I know one of the things Joe's saying is, how can you tell if sugar is the trigger? Do you know, Carolyn? Well, I know you know, but how would she discern her sugar intake, and what would you recommend as a anti-sugar diet?
Well, you stop sugar, and then after 10 days, you see if you're any better, and then you have a whole bunch of sugar and see if you get worse. It's avoidance and then challenge, they call it. But do it carefully so that you don't make yourself really worse. But usually avoiding it, sugars for 10 days, 2 weeks will give you all the answers you need. And in terms of a sugar-free diet, I think that's pretty basic. I won't go into it here. You can look online for a sugar-free diet, and don't use sugar substitutes. Those are chemicals and they're even worse than sugar. And read my book, actually. What is it? Sugar Without the Icing. I have a free ebook you can read. Sugar Without the Icing.
Okay, very good. All right. So you've got some book resources without the icing. And we did a webinar on both of those, the heart topic and the sugar topic. And all Dr. Dean's webinars are also at drcarolyndeanlive.com. You'll have to forgive us as we get all these webinars up. I personally am the one who's responsible to go in. And Derek's done a great job of updating all the pretty images, but the content is still mine to finish. So if you get to the page, I'll look at it right now and see, how does sugar without, oh, well, actually, it's the first one right there. And actually, it's got a very slight description on it, but it is there. And so you can just click on Sugar Without the Icing webinar, and you can hear the presentation from Dr. Dean about the effects of sugar on the body. And I know, Carolyn, you've talked about the sugar crush before, of how it impacts nerves and that kind of thing, and ganglia. So, you know, I guess in the heart, with the heart muscles and the electro impulses in there, sugar could be interfering with that, I would imagine, eh?
Oh, yes. In people with diabetes, you look at them and how it's the kidneys, heart, and eyes that suffer from high sugar levels in diabetes. So that's, you know, that's the focus. I think it might be because the heart has such a high metabolic rate that sugar affects it. But that's a good question. I'll have to find out. I'll find out why.
Very good. Yeah. Something for Carolyn to research. And stevia, Carolyn, what do you think about stevia? You're not talking about that when it comes to a chemical like aspartame is more what you're thinking about as a sugar substitute, or where are you at with that?
Right. Aspartame is highly dangerous. It turns to methyl alcohol, for Pete's sakes, in the body. No, stevia is safe. We use it in our formulas. It does not trigger yeast overgrowth. So stevia is fine. But, you know, when you take any sugar source, it kind of does stimulate your taste buds to want more. So just be careful of using even too much stevia.
Right. Very good. Yes, exactly. Very good. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So here with Dr. Carolyn Dean live this wonderful Monday evening. Can you believe, Carolyn, of all the unbelievable things? Okay. Is it really the 16th of November? Doing a little time segment here in the show. We don't usually talk about it because so many people listen to our archives for years after we record the show. But my gosh, it's just amazing that we're almost at Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, which it's going to be canceled, which is totally ridiculous. My golly. Yeah. Invite everybody over and hit them up with the complement formulas.
That's right.
They'll be fine.
That's right. Just pour some zinc in your stuffing. Absolutely. All right. So if anybody's got talk to Dr. Dean, *9 on the keypad, we'll put you on the phone with her. Otherwise, Carolyn, we will press on with our important agenda this evening.
Right. I have a testimonial. I don't have a lot, so you'll have to figure out questions to ask me after this one, Jenny. But this is interesting, and you'll love it because it's about animals. And what Michelle says is, these products have been an amazing addition to my animals' health, and I have been recommending them to my clients for their animals also as needed. So Michelle Lowry has a website called Nikone Natural Therapies, Nikoe, NikoNaturalTherapies.com. And she said Sunshine, who I think it's her horse, has been diagnosed, with a heart condition and severe laminitis. Now, laminitis, is that a hoof problem, Ginny? Shall I consult you about horses? Or
I don't know. I'm not very good with horses, but I will find out.
what? Oh, it's in cows. Yeah. So laminitis is horses and cows. So it's a hoof problem, a disease that affects the feet of horses and cattle, includes foot tenderness, progressing to inability to walk. Wow, increased temperature in the hooves. Severe cases, well, we don't have to go there. So what Michelle is saying, that sunshine, heart condition, severe laminitis, and the addition of these products made a huge difference, along with other modalities, on the holistic support. The horse used to lie down several times a day to rest, and that all stopped. Yeah, can you imagine having foot problems and always being on your feet like horses are? And she continues, my 13-year-old dog has been on the Remag and Remite for months now and is doing great. I know I couldn't, something about, she wanted to send a video, but she thought the words would work. Many thanks. And again, it's NIKOE, NicoNaturalTherapies.com. It's an interesting website. So that's cool. That's amazing. And we are working on our Pico Pets products.
Yes.
So we've been focused on humans, but the pets are so important. My gosh, I don't have pets. Bob and I never did. I had a cat and dog when I was a kid, but I've been watching a lot of cat and dog videos during the quarantine, and it's amazing how attached humans are to their pets. I mean, they are family. And I know that from staying with Ginny and Greg when I go to North Carolina. They are amazing beings.
Yes, they really are. And it's wonderful that our products are so pure and so well formulated and so healthy that people can give them to they just intuitively know that they can give them to their pets with such confidence. And we probably could have done Pico Pets a long time ago, but we're just being super responsible about getting the research and the dosing down. You know, most people just take a chance with putting a couple drops in their water and they'll just see how they progress. And that's a very safe way to do it. We have so many great testimonials of people who work with our formulas and our pets. So it's exciting.
Now, does the FDA, do they regulate pet formulas as well? It sounds like they're even stricter than humans.
I don't know. That's a good question. Who does pet formulations? I'm in oversight. I mean, FDA is Food and Drug Administration. So I wonder if it's let's look. Well, our little friends at the FDA would be so much fun. The FDA regulation of animal drugs, veterinary resources. Yep.
I have something on pet food. In the United States, pet food is among the most highly regulated of all food products and must meet federal and state requirements.
Yes, and it should, because it didn't used to be that, and we won't talk about what went into pet food, but it was pets, and that's gross, but it's true. Yeah, disgusting.
I
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so icky, but it's a thing that we're going to do, and it's going to be fun, and we'll have lots of fun testimonials and a celebration of our wonderful pets. And people have all kinds of, they've given it to their birds and their cats. I don't think we have any reptile testimonials, but who knows? There's probably some out there. We'll just have to ask for them and they'll come flooding in. Mailbag, Carolyn?
Nope, we're done.
Oh, wow. How exciting. Okay, let's get some callers in here. 646-558-8656, and we'll go to area code 941. 941, I've just asked to unmute your phone. 941. 941. You want to take your phone off mute. Look at for the little blue button to protect your privacy. And were you getting it, 941? I think once I go to take somebody off, if they don't respond by taking off their mute, you've got to see it on your screen, on your phone or on your computer. You're going to see a little button that says the host is trying to unmute you. And then you'll want to click that button so you can get into the call. Otherwise, I'll probably go on and then circle back around to you. All right, let's try to go to area code 562. I've just unmuted your phone. Oh, 941, did you figure it out?
I did. I was hitting pound instead of star. Sorry, it's
Okay.
Carol.
Hey, Carol,
Well,
go
one
ahead.
other night I got in and I wasn't supposed to be there. You all could hear me.
Oh.
Anyway, I have so many things. I've been listening since your thyroid panel you had that night. Right that week, I was diagnosed with low thyroid. And of course, I've been reading around on your materials. I don't know, I'm having terrible problems with my memory and jotting notes right and left. But the doctor made me go on a totally gluten-free, soy-free diet. So I first wanted to ask Dr. Dean, is that typical?
Well, it's typical for a good doctor to do that because allopathic doctors don't usually bother, and gluten and soy can affect the thyroid. It jams up thyroid receptors, so that's a good start.
I know everybody I know, they're on levothyroxine, and they I did ask her for Armour because I'd already read that was better, and she said there's production problems with it. We didn't have time to elaborate. She had written me in the portal and just said she would give me therapy, and I said I'd take it, and then she called in the Levo, and I made an appointment with her just to talk about the diet. And then, 45 minutes, I mean, you just can't cover it all. But she said, yeah, your body can actually, the thyroid mistakes the gluten or something and can end up attacking itself.
Right.
But yeah, and then the other problem, she put it in the evening, and of course I've tried so hard still to get on your Remag. I need your lotion badly, but I'm spraying the Remag on because I had trouble getting it down. I can't seem to get enough that way. So just as I ordered 2 bottles of it to plaster on, of course you couldn't put it in my order.
Okay, well, look, you're getting off track. Let's focus on your thyroid. Did you start taking the levothyroxine?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. She put it at night, but told me I can't do anything 4 hours before. No magnesium, no food.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's got me in a bind.
But Carol, remember, maybe you don't remember the thyroid panel, because the whole thing about the thyroid is it needs 9 minerals in order to make thyroid hormone.
Oh, I'm doing a lot of the Remite. I am getting that down.
And are you doing the whole 1.5 teaspoons?
Well, I'm doing it kind of gradually through the day. I'm not exactly sure what I'm up to. I was spraying that on at first too, and I just thought I'm never going to make it. So I take that, the zinc, sometimes the Pico Silver, gulp it down, then try to drink my water.
Right.
And I was doing sea salted water, but the cardiologist told me to stop that. He's a new cardiologist. And he said, you may do the potassium, which I haven't introduced yet. I bought it. But he said, do not do that pink salt. It could affect my blood pressure. I mean, me who's been having blood pressure problems all along.
Right. Well, back to the thyroid. how long have you been doing the Remite?
Well, spraying it on for maybe a month or more, and then just taking it in the glass probably 2 weeks.
Okay, so you're just at the beginning. You have to get focused here, Carol. You have to measure out 1.5 teaspoons, put it in a glass of water, put a label on it saying, this is the Remite I have to drink today. Because if you want to get off the levothyroxine by making your own thyroid hormones, you have to know exactly how much Remite you're taking. And that's the amount that gets your own hormones going. And doing the Remag would help as well. Now, this business of you not, being able to take the taste, have you gotten our vitamin C reset berry powder?
No, I heard you talk all about that. I have such acid burn. I can never do berry anything. I wanted to do the cherry juice like you are to get down the stuff, but just trust me, it's just such bad acid burn. And I'd already just ordered a bunch of your products, so to spend the money for it to find out that I wouldn't be able to take it because I had just ordered the potassium.
Ginny, can you get make up a small amount of vitamin C reset berry powder for Carol so she can test it? Because I know what you're saying, and yeah,
that'd be great. I'd love it for the flavor on the other stuff too. So I listen to everything you say. I left my board meeting on my community that affects my bottom dollar. To listen to you. Yeah, I've been trying to call in on the first hour because I'm still trying to get there. I am trying. I honestly am.
I think the berry powder will help. I don't find it gives me any burping or any backlash. So when you get it, you just sprinkle like even just 1/8 of a teaspoon into your drink and see how that goes. Because if you could take the Remag and Remite in the proper amounts, you wouldn't have a low thyroid problem, and that. So that's what
I didn't know how quickly you could reverse that. I was shocked to find I had the thyroid issue. I'd been telling them for ages I did not feel well. I was shaky. I told the cardiologist it was the diltiazem, and he said, no, go look elsewhere. By then I was on emergency visit to the doctor, run labs, and that's when she found it. But in June, just the lab reading was okay. And then here all of a sudden in October, I get diagnosed with the low thyroid.
And what do you want the thiazide for?
I'm on diltiazem 60 milligram capsule once a day, but then the doctor went and added, I thought, too much losartan to it. I drop really low, so there's just many issues there too. The cardiologist fired me from calling in too often with med problems. Yeah, so the minute the new doctor, I get the new doctor, he's great. He added losartan, it settled right down. I was spiking 4 nights out of 8.
I see.
Up to 200.
Wow. Yeah, because the diltiazem, it's a calcium channel blocker. And so that's messing with your magnesium. It causes more magnesium deficiency, but you'll get it sorted out. I mean, just
Well, that's it. It's been such a long trial with all this stuff, and then it's not like I'm not trying at it. I'm reading at it. I'm trying to sort it all out, and then to get hit with the low thyroid, and then I'm practically starving to death. I can't find things between the gluten-free. The gluten's not as bad. What it is, there's that soybean oil in everything. So all I do is read labels. I'm exhausted looking them up.
Right.
and then remember I got the low heart rate. So it just sort of pulled down. Then I can't get out and do the exercise. It's just an endless, and I'm working it every day, reading, trying to be positive about it. I checked a book on thyroid out of the library. I wondered what you thought. Isn't Armour one of them that you prefer to be on? None of them, but
right.
Armour
and
over.
Don't get too, you get so many layers that your mind is just going all over the place. We have to get you taking the Remag and the Remite in the right amounts. So step one is giving you a sample of the vitamin C reset berry powder so you can swallow this stuff. That's all you got to think about. In the meantime, spray your Remag on, try to take a teaspoon and a half of Remite. But your solution is in getting your Remag and Remite in the right amounts, period.
Well, and I've been trying that Remag forever. And when Julie said, spray it from the sternum down, I used to put it everywhere. Then I broke out underneath my boobs, which I don't know if it just trapped it in there. I was breaking out. I started to write Ginny about that.
Enough, Carol. Yeah, enough. And I'm sorry that we don't have the Remag lotion. It disturbs us immensely that we don't have that. But I'm going to let you go now. Do you have any idea when? It could be
Carol, I might have a bottle in my desk. I will look and see what I can come up with. Okay.
Bless
I will
you.
talk with Julie and see what we can do.
Well,
okay.
Thank you both. That'll get me going.
Okay, we'll send it out with the powder. So you hang in there, but don't try to.
I am. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Bless you.
Bless you too, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, dear.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Let's press on to area code 562. 562, I'm sending you the little blue button to unmute your phone at area code 562. And when you see that blue button on your phone or on your computer screen, just click it and it'll let you come into the call with us. Area code 562. And I think you got to press star, not... there we go. Did you come? You were right there. 562. Oh. Okay. Then I'm going to go on to area code. Oh, there we go.
Am I unmuted now?
You're unmuted now. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I have had fibroid tumors. Well, I had a hysterectomy because I had large ones in my uterus, and then I got a fibroid tumor in my head. Is there something in particular some lack in particular that causes that?
In your head?
Yeah, I have a fibroid tumor on that nerve bundle that your hearing and your balance and the right side of your face.
What a darn shame. Well, I know the total biology people talk about, growing things because it's not a cancer, thank goodness, but I don't know that it's a nutrient deficiency necessarily, the one up there, behind your mastoid. I don't know if they would even be the same cell type.
Okay.
I really don't even know if I've heard of one. Is it by chance a lipoma?
No, that's not the word that was used, but I can't remember the word that was used.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't know what to say.
It's extremely slow growing. But then I had but in the hysterectomy, in the uterus, that was like 40 years ago. So.
All right, very.
It's all from a long time ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put them together, but are you going to have surgery for the one on your skull, in your skull?
I'm not thinking so because it will not give me back any hearing. In fact, if I've got any hearing there, which I really don't, it'll take that away. So I'm not seeing any real positive reasons to do it. Now, they do say if it grows large enough, it can press on the bottom part of your Was it the brainstem or something where the automatic stuff
Yeah,
is?
the brainstem. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know
But-
what, I don't know if give me your first name. You didn't give your first
Nancy.
Nancy, I don't know if have you heard me talk about total biology over time?
I don't think so.
Well, total biology is the conflict basis of disease. It it tells you if the body is how should I say this? Okay, let me describe the person, the doctor who kind of stumbled upon this theory. He was a German, and he called it German New Medicine. The people in France call it total biology. Well, this doctor, he's a psychiatrist and an oncologist. His son was shot, and he was dying. And after the son died, within 3 months, the doctor developed testicular cancer and the wife developed ovarian cancer. And that was just very strange. And what he being a psychiatrist and a cancer doctor, he thought, oh my gosh, we're trying to make a new family. They were past the age and everything, but it's like the brain couldn't deal with the stress and put into the body new tissue growth to try to solve the problem. Do you see what I'm getting at there? How the body?
I think so.
Yeah. So
it didn't do good. It didn't do a good job, but it was putting extra tissue in there because it thought that's what it needed to do.
Exactly. It was. Yeah, it didn't do a good job. So with when I took classes in total biology, they said something that affects the head or the brain or whatever could be the brain trying to solve something that was impossible to solve. So it was growing tissue, I don't know, to find a solution. It's either trying to solve a problem or trying to compete with somebody or something. So a person in competition for another smart person, you're trying to be smarter than somebody else. So what I say to people who have something that you can't do surgery, I don't know that there'd be anything nutritional you could do. I would refer you to our medical doctor, who does phone consults about this conflict situation. And what Dr. David Holt does is the first consult, he'll do a short consult for free to see if it looks like it's going to help a person. So that's what I would say.
Okay.
So
let me ask.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The website, if you want to mark it down, or you could ask support. The website is turnpointhealth.com. Turnpointhealth.com. And I know him personally. He's a wonderful doctor, and he's helped many of our customers and staff. But go ahead with your question.
Okay, I had a question about water. I know you're supposed to do the, for your body weight in half and that many ounces.
Yeah.
If you drink, is that water? Even if you drink tea or whatever, you don't count those other liquids that you drink?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would count the tea, because I think if you're trying to drink half your body weight and tea and this and that, it's too much liquid. So I would count the tea.
Okay. So basically, if you don't drink tea or whatever, if you're only doing water, then that's... Now, there was something that we switched and was doing because we couldn't get the filtered water we'd been getting right at the beginning of COVID, and I'm not sure that it's smart. We switched to distilled water and added the salt to it for the micro minerals and stuff. But is that good enough?
I don't know, Nancy. I really don't like distilled water. it's dead.
Right.
When I used to, work in a lab during some of my research, I was distilling water, and it just, anyway, it's dead. It doesn't have anything in it at all. I would get a water filter that carbon block, for example. I would send you to this gentleman that I've known for a long time. Jeff at, what's his water filter? I just got a new water filter from here. Jeff at Pure Earth. So his website is pure hyphen or dash earth, a dash between pure and earth, pureearth.com. And he sells wholesale to the public. He has incredible prices. And what I told him is I have chlorine in my water, but not fluoride. But I said I wanted
have fluoride.
Okay. So you need a chlorine filter and a fluoride filter.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, I don't want reverse osmosis or distillation because they just create dead water. I want something to get in there. And then, yes, you add the sea salt. But tell me, Nancy, have you any sense of how you've been feeling since you've been drinking that water?
I can't tell because there's so many, it seems like to me there's so many other things going on. And I know there's some depression, which I've begun to deal with, and that muddles up everything else. Plus, I've been getting off of like magnesium and stuff that I was taking and switching to Remag, and I'm not sure I moved quickly enough onto the Remag to balance off, getting off of the other. And I don't know if I should be taking any calcium. I've got some of your calcium, but I haven't started taking it because I'm not sure whether I need to take it or not. How do I tell?
Well, what you do is, excuse me, you make a list of your diet and then check on calcium food lists. There is an online site called chronometer.com, CRONOMETER.com. And you can type in your foods and then they'll tell you how many milligrams of this, that, or the other. So you just aim for 600. If you're not getting 600, then you take what you're not getting in the Recalcia. I take 1 teaspoon of Recalcia a day because I'm doing my heavy whipping cream and some, vegetables and whatnot. But you don't try to get the 1,200 milligrams like the RDA says. That's just calcifying us.
Right.
And for the depression, Remag definitely. Realign is going to be important for the B vitamins. So that's going to be helpful. And the Remite to support the thyroid, because you can have a slow metabolism that makes you feel that you're kind of depressed.
Right.
And if you're not sleeping properly, you can feel apathetic and depressed too.
Right, and that's a problem, and I think it's getting better as I'm trying to get the Remag adjusted.
Good, that's great. Okay, my dear.
Now, how much potassium should you take to balance? Does it balance with magnesium or anything? Potassium.
There's no algorithm for that. What you do is the chronometer is a big help there, because you need 4,700 milligrams of potassium a day in your diet. And most people just are not getting that. So do the chronometer, find out how much you're getting. And then what you do with the pico potassium, if it says you need, like 1,600 milligrams, well, with the pico potassium, just take half of that because it's so well absorbed. So you just take 800, and that's 2 teaspoons.
Okay.
And that's what seems to be happening is people seem to need about 2 teaspoons of pico potassium.
Okay, so I probably am low on that then.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
I can't think of it right now.
I wore you down. I lasted longer than no, you're good. I mean, we just want to help. We just want to help. And call in again. Let us know how you're doing as you get up on your remeg and the other things. And if you have questions in the meantime, go to support@rnareset.com. Okay, Nancy?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ginny's scrambling for the mute button.
No, I got it. We've got a question from Elma in Kuwait. So I want to get to that. And then we've got time for just one last question. And then we'll wrap up the show. Elma went to a physician and was told that she's got a lymphoma on her hand and that there's nothing to do to treat that. Do you have any remedy for that, Carolyn, that you'd like to recommend?
Are you saying lymphoma or lipoma?
Sorry, lipoma.
Yeah. So that's just a fatty cyst. I haven't really seen things that take that away, but I haven't thought of it for a long time. I would put actually Renew serum on it. I would put our concentrated RNA drops Renew serum on it and just tell it that you're not interested in keeping it.
Very good.
Out.
Thank you.
Out.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Goodbye. That's wonderful. Excellent. Yes. Thank it and say goodbye. That's wonderful. All right. And let's go to area code 248. I'm unmuting your phone. Area code 248. Just a few minutes to the top of the hour. Go ahead, please, if you could give us your name and then your question or comment.
This is Denise, and it's going to be a real quick thing. The only reason why I responded is because the lady said that she was on diltiazem and her thyroid was low. Well, that's exactly what I have, low thyroid. But I'm taking 4 teaspoons of magnesium. I'm up to 1 1.4 pico potassium and remite, 1.5 remite. And so so I'm just figuring, you just told me I didn't know that diltiazem interferes with the magnesium. So do I need to increase my magnesium or just?
Right. If you're on 4 teaspoons, Denise, that sounds like it's enough to overcome the calcium channel blocker. But the thing of it is, the words are right there, calcium channel blocker. Well, magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. So, what we're waiting for is as your electrolytes kick in, then the blood pressure is going to calm down and you won't need the diltiazem.
They put me on that for the AFib. That's why they put me on that for the AFib. And I love your products. I actually am starting the Pico Silver, and I just got the Realign. So I'm getting ready to add all of those in. Plus, I'm taking your Restructure. So my whole house is filled with your stuff. So I was just getting a little concerned when she said that. But see, the thing that she might have an advantage of is the fact that she still has a thyroid. I don't. So that's why I was a little concerned. Is that going to be an impact on me? Or can I still?
No, you're still good. It's the diltiazem. So the AFib, though, Denise, how are you with that? Are you having less episodes?
Well, they first put me on this about a month ago, the diltiazem or cardizem or whatever they call it. They put me on that because I had to get off of the beta blockers. They were just terrible for me, and I couldn't stand the blood thinners anymore. They were doing horrible things to me, and I refused to take it. So I said, I'm standing on God's word, and I'm going to be fine, and I'm going to take your products. And that's, I'm just believing that's what God is allowing me to do. And so that's what I'm sticking with that. And this one, I picked that channel blocker because, my hair came all out, and I didn't know if it was because of the thyroid or if it was because of the beta blockers or it was because of the blood thinners. So I'm just saying I'm fine. I'm feeling better. I'm not having the palpitations like that, but I really don't have them that much anyway. But I know I still have it because when I take my blood pressure on the thing, it lets you know if you're still having irregular heartbeats.
Yeah, I see. Okay, well, you're just getting on everything, getting it all tuned up. So it'll take a few months, but after a few months, as your body is balanced with the electrolyte minerals, then the AFib shouldn't be a problem anymore. That's what yes. That's what we're praying on. Exactly.
Oh, yes, and I'm believing that.
Yes, of course. Okay, sweetheart.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good to hear from you. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, wonderful. Well, what another great show, Carolyn, in the bag or on the reel or in the can. In the can. That's what
in the can. And Denise, Denise, she comes on every couple of months, and one of these days we're going to have to edit these folks who start off with all their problems and then they get so excited and then, I'm adding this and that. It's so cute. It's just adorable.
Yes, it's wonderful. And we've got a great history of our all-stars, our all-time favorites, going all the way back to Roman back in the day. That was like 2012 or something. And coming forward, we've had great listeners and audience participation, both of our Nancys and Belinda. And I mean, just so many, super Dougie. I mean, so many great people with us and always listening and lifting us up and sharing the good word. So we're just so grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to share this evening, Carolyn, before we wrap up?
Just to remind people about the Magnesium Miracle Contest is over, but now you can participate by going to the email that Chad, he'll send out more emails probably this week telling you to go there and view these incredible videos by our incredible customers and vote for them. I'm voting for everybody, but I guess somebody will win the grand prize, and then the runner-up prizes. I think we give a prize to everybody, don't we, Ginny?
By the time it's all said and done, I think we do too, Carolyn. I think you're very generous in that regard. Yes, very generous.
Yeah. Okay, so we did good. We came in just 1 minute short of the top of the hour, so that's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you, Ginny. Yes, another great show. I can't believe how every show is different. I guess it's because we have different customers and different questions. It's amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, audience.
You've been listening to the Dr.
Break's not
Carolyn
coming.
Dean Live Radio Show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.